guys, I just want to talk about the new tool here, the Crypto Check Sentiment tool. Okay, very quickly. It's on a very extreme setting, right? It's on 200, setting 200. We can show you here. You can see, it's just on setting 200 here. Okay, and basically, this setting has captured every single bull market that there ever was. It's not going to nail the exact low, but it captures the meat of the move, right? You can see all through here, right? It obviously caught all of that, right? It got you out right up here, well, 13, 14,000. It actually flipped up here, 15, 16,000 red up here as well, and then went into that bear market. It got you back in down here, okay? You can see it flipping green here, and then it moved to the upside. Obviously, it didn't get you out at the very highs, but you were in and on board there. Later, when you're on board, you can change the indicator settings to help refine a top, okay? But this is just a broad spectrum 200 setting that if it's green in this setting, especially at the start of the move, it can do very well, right? If it's at the end of the move, you can see it lasts a bit too long because it's on a large setting, okay? So, but you can also see and understand that the market was already weakening. Look at the sentiment here. The sentiment is dropping. The weakness, the strength is coming out of the market. It's no coincidence that Bitcoin had a crash and a financial crisis here. The market was weak overall before the crash. Because the market was overall weak, it allowed this crash to be worse and worse than it could have been. Anyway, we flipped green down here. The sentiment flipped green here, right there at almost the lows, and you can see it rode that trend right up. It got you out here, okay, but you could refine that to be getting out in this top by lowering the numbers. We can do it right now here actually, just as a rough guide. I'll go to 150. You can see didn't get you out that much earlier on 150. Oh, sorry, I didn't change. Okay, it did get it out earlier. I had to change the settings on this tool as well, the part 1 tool. Okay, I had to pause the video there, but you can see here, it did get you out earlier. It got you out closer to the top. And you can also refine that again and even go down to 100 to ensure that you are getting out that little bit earlier. Well, you can see where it's flipping here, it's flipping a bit earlier. If I further refine it down to find that market weakness, we'll go to 50 just to see what it's doing here. Okay, so you can see it coming in here. Right. Yeah, anyway, you get the point. I've set it to 100 now, just as a rough number. I was using the 200 before. I may go back to that. But, and then it keeps you out of this bear market. You know it's a bear market. You know it's a bear market. You know it's bearish. Now, I was using the 200 number, and I'm going to go back to that now because we're at the current day. But note that the 100 is trying to flip green. Note that. It's important. I want to go back to 200 here. Okay, but note on the 200, we are still red on the chart, right? It did flip red, which was telling you to stay out of the chart for now, but don't get me wrong, on these large settings it gives late signals of being bullish, but normally it catches the meat of the move. When it flips green, you are kind of confirmed that you're on a bull market generally, okay? I mean, it confirmed late here on this move, but it caught the real first move. I suppose it caught that move, caught this move, kept you out of this, got you back in here. The idea is if it flips green here, there's a chance it could give us that next leg higher. Sentiment is slowly starting to rise here on the 200. Just like sentiment was rising here, obviously rising in this large bear market, and every time with the sentiment, it ended up creating large buy pressures, large buy pressures and large up moves, large bullish environments. Now, I think that this is a strange one because we had all of this. Price didn't move up hugely, but that's 100% bounce in price. but the indicators didn't show it because I think there was a lot of fear in the market. Sentiment wasn't actually that great. People were in disbelief that the bottom was in. But you know, here in CryptoCheck, we did say that we thought the bottom was in right here at 17,000, and called it actually when we were up here, called the $17,000 to $20,000 level. So anyway, yeah, the thing is, after large basis, right? Large basis may be, you know, on the bottom. If you can, you know, get bear markets or whatever, and then you flip green on higher time frames on market-based breakouts, these can be extremely powerful with rising sentiment. Okay, extremely powerful. You can check back through history on many different time frames. 10-minute chart, 30-second chart, daily chart, whatever. It's all the same. You can see the rising sentiment here, but obviously this, because the numbers on 200, it flashes late. If we can change it right now, you know, flipped it to 35 here, and you know, you can see the rising sentiment here, but it flips green early in that run. It starts flipping green here. Yes, there's fake outs here. Those fake outs can be important though, because you can be then thinking, okay, if it flips out again, if it flips the second time down here, it can be the more real one. But that massively rising sentiment there, look at this huge push in the sentiment right up there, kind of telling you, even telling you here, that this market is bottoming. This market is bottoming, and this market is going to break out to the upside very soon, and you need to be prepared. So if you see this on Bitcoin, for example, you know, there's no bears left here after this huge push in sentiment. You can be loading up on altcoins or anything. Those altcoins will probably bounce. If Bitcoin bounces 100% here, the altcoins are going to do 200 or 300%. Now the same, if we go back here, you know, you can see that in this, the bull run, it caught the bull run up. But look at the base, look at the flat base here, and the triangle, whatever way you want to call it. But look at it already being red here, giving you time to be out of the market or protect yourself at least. That's it. That's on these settings. Of course, we can refine the settings and it'll get you out back here somewhere. But even on these settings, it's telling you to get out before the dump, because you've already seen the weakness in sentiment, right? Sentiment declined massively here. And then on the second top, which is almost at the highs, the sentiment was very poor, warning you to probably sell your altcoins or sell your Bitcoin, or protect yourself, or take a hedge, or go short. It allowed you to understand that, you know, then you would have followed along right to here. You could have bought maybe a little, but that was a one-day spike, so that didn't matter. That was a one-day spike. But then the next buying opportunity was here, right? And then price bounced. Well, no point guessing, I'll just measure it, 42% from here. Again, these bases, here's another base here. These bases are extremely powerful because they allow the indicator time and they allow sentiment to actually flip bullish early in a base, right? Bases are unbelievable with this too. Look here, look at this base right here. The sentiment is terrible here, but the sentiment starts to flip, and you catch that whole move, because bases allow time for sentiment to change into bullish environment. Now, not only that, you could have foretold that it was about to flip because the sentiment was already rising. So even down here, you could be trying to get in long. You're above the white 100, above all moving averages here, and allow that to flip and run by getting in board early, right? That trading bases with this new indicator is unbelievable. It's absolutely remarkable. Here's another example, this bottoming base here, and you start flipping green here, right? Here's another base. Look at this. Look at this. It's a bearish base, right? So you have a bearish base. Well, what happens? Well, you could refine it to get out earlier, but look at the base on this setting that we have right now. I mean, it flipped red right here, telling you to get the hell out of the market. Now, I'm on pretty loose settings, so you know, we can change that. We can move it up a bit. We'll go to 70 just for the sake of it. Okay, so okay, I've changed both the chart and the indicator to 70. Now you can see you know, this flat base again. Look, you get on board on this flat base. Look at that. It's absolutely fantastic. Catching the bottom of the market there. It flips as the sentiment is flipping, and it also tells you to be prepared. Sentiment is rising in the market. Be prepared. There's a bullish move coming in the market. Get your cash ready. You know, it happens over and over again. Look here. The sentiment. There's no bears left here, and you start to flip green here, and you catch that entire move on Bitcoin. And not only that, you had a bullish pressure cooker there to allow you to prepare for the coming move, and then you had rising sentiment, and then you had flipping green on the indicator. If I remove my moving averages, so you can kind of see clearly, you know, how crystal clear this indicator can make it for trading, when you know what to look for, when you know to find bases, pressure cookers, apexes, breakouts. Now what is interesting is we have actually started to flip and try and break out here. This is telling you to try and find some safe entry points in Bitcoin currently. There is still some sort of rise in the sentiment. It is projecting that it's potentially still continuing to stay strong. Although this wasn't the strongest breakout, we can look in the past to try and find similar situations. You know, it is difficult to say because obviously sentiment can continue to rise and build as breakouts happen and FOMO starts and people get more and more bullish. You know, this point here could look very similar to here as well, right? Because it builds. You know, you just don't know. It is difficult to say for sure, but it is small to start with, right? It's not an explosion. It's not, you know, this big, whatever that was there in the COVID crash. It's not really this either. You know, it's not one of those big, huge things. It is more starting slow. Is it, you know, the reason being is we probably need a new yearly candle. But it's definitely saying that there is bullishness to this because the sentiment has moved to the upside and we have now started to break out. If I change, you know, the settings to higher settings like we had at the start, we were running at a 200. You can see sentiment is rising here. This is a good push on sentiment, right? And you can see that the 200 has not flipped yet. So that is what we're waiting for. If we get a 200 flip, that will be good confirmation. But the 200 does give later signals. It is just confirming a strong trend, okay? So we need to see what we get. It's suggesting Bitcoin is already bullish and dips are for buys until proven otherwise, until these indicators start flipping red again on these lower time frames, and they have not done that yet. I just shared this chart in the group here. Microsoft on the left hand side on a 2-week chart, you can see back here in 2019 we got the pullback. It's a similar-ish type pattern in the fact that, you know, we are kind of on the verge and you know, about to break out of that almost today. You know, the way it looks like in that tight range pattern where you know, you could just draw that there as well. I'm not sure if it's accurate to draw it like that, but you know, we kind of do have that type of pattern. Any breakout at all above it is kind of confirming a breakout of the pattern. On top of that, you have the RSI moving back up. RSI moved back up here. Above the 50 is technically bullish. Above the 50 here is technically bullish. You can see it moved up, but you know, it might have looked topped here, but you know, Microsoft was not topped. Microsoft had a long way to go, okay? And there's a bigger pattern up there, of course. But you can just see when there's not much selling pressure, when nobody wants to sell the asset, just like nobody wanted to sell Microsoft for years and years and years, because, I mean, every household on the planet, on a lot of the planet, had a computer or software or whatever. Is anybody wanting to sell Bitcoin right now? You know, I don't hear anybody thinking that Bitcoin's overbought or too high in price, or you know, there's just more and more companies buying it. There's a I just posted in the group there, you know, 1.3 trillion asset manager Morgan Stanley discloses $272 million in Bitcoin. You know, that's not huge, but that's just one bank. There's hundreds and thousands of companies all around the world that are starting to buy Bitcoin, not to mention everybody else. So I don't see anybody selling. Don't get me wrong, it's not good to be overly bullish, but it's just good to try and take a perspective of the entire market, of the fundamentals of what's happening. Could Roy posting here, it's a great post. Of course, if we get a failed breakout on Bitcoin, we need to be on guard. These flat-based breakdowns are very powerful. We do not have a flat-based breakdown here, but could we somehow fail? We could, but we're not at that point yet. But definitely we need to be watching for fake breakdowns. Fake breakouts, because fake outs can create large moves in the opposite direction. So there's nothing wrong with this post. It's a great post, and we always need to be on guard. But it's good to look at all perspectives, and we just looked at the sentiment tool there, and the sentiment tool is telling us the market is trying to flip bullish. Very interesting times ahead. 16 minutes on this video. I didn't mean it to be so long, but it's good to go over the sentiment tool, the new tool. Extremely powerful tool, works on all time frames, gives a good overview of the market. Larger time frames can capture bull runs, smaller time frames can capture those bullish moves, can get you out of the market in good time. So if you're a member and you haven't got access to that yet, definitely hit us up and we can get you access to that. It is, in my opinion, it's our most powerful tool ever. Anyway guys, yeah, I'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching. Let's see if we can get this breakout similar to what Microsoft done.